I know I say this every time we get done with it, but the day has finally come. I say that because Leonard is the owner of this beautiful Z32, have been working together on this vision of this Z32 for at least 8, maybe even 9 years. So when Leonard brought this over to our old shop, we were in Chatsworth, this thing was a huge pile of just donkey poo. It was really bad. He brought it in. I think he ended up buying it from a buddy of his. Didn't run. He towed it into us, had rod knock, low compression, everything that can go wrong with a 300ZX, with the VG30 in specific, was wrong. This thing was in really rough shape. The car was actually charcoal gray originally. When he brought it to us all those years back, we told him, hey, Leonard, we can't start on this project for at least a couple years. So in the meantime, we started gathering parts for him. We finally brought the car in, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. Slowly started building things up, working with Leonard's budget. This thing has been essentially overhauled entirely. So when we got the car, Leonard had it repainted, engine was out of it. At that process, we were getting the motor ready. Motor needed another crankshaft. It was just in really bad shape. So we needed to get a few donor parts for it to make this thing whole once more. Yeah, here we are. I mean, now that we've come this far, we've done so much to this thing. It's just, you know, it's not just, okay, you're replacing turbos, rebuilding the motor. There's just a lot that goes into these, especially when you're doing like a little mini restoration on it. So beautiful outcome. I love the color combo. We did the gray to match the work wheels on the intake manifold. We did that Wrinkle red, that Ferrari style Wrinkle red on the valve covers, the balance tube. It really just ties this thing really nicely together. Right, so what did we do to this bad boy? Well, so we rebuilt the engine, pretty setup, Wiseco pistons, 8.5, 8.8 to 1 compression ratio, Eagle rods. You know, Leonard's goal was to make about 600 horsepower with it. We've easily done that. It's got our full exhaust 5-bolt downpipes, our catted mid pipes, our 2.5-inch catback with it. It sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's doing everything it needs to do. So besides all this, we've got our breather mods for the intake charge pipe side, our inlet piping, intercooler piping. We just have stock throttle bodies in there. When we were doing this build, it was really hard to get the Rob Z's. They were discontinued. It's also really hard to get the other option, which is the Polar stuff as well. So we left it alone, knowing that the power goals weren't going to be crazy, and we knew we were going to be able to run E85 to help make a little bit more power. So on gasoline, you try to do as much of the breather stuff as possible to be able to make more power on, you know, the shit fuel that we have. But case here in point, you know, with E85, we don't have to rely on every single little scenario. So on the heads, we have Jim Wolf 500 cams, valve springs. We did the larger oversized by 1/2 mil valves as well. All that stuff is going to help just move air easier. So if you're going to go to the trouble of it, I always recommend doing at least the cams and the valves. It's going to make a big difference. It's going to reward you, making more power on the same, if not less boost, if you didn't have that stuff. So that's basically it, right? We studded the motor. The other cool thing about this is that this was the kind of prototype for the Grannis Racing T56 Z32 kit. So this has Joel's cast bell housing for the VG to the T56 transmission. So Joel did a great job with that. You know, his first cast piece was really, really good. We just had to get the dowels right. When any of these kits that you install with the T56, with the cast bell housing, you got to run a dial indicator, make sure your transmission is centered to the back of that crankshaft, because you don't want pressure against the engine on the crank on the transmission, because you'll wear that transmission out relatively quickly if you got a bunch of side load pressure on it. So Danny did a great job of getting all the specs, running our dial indicator. It's a bit more involved on the install. You install the bell housing, then once the bell housing is installed, then you can install the transmission and setting up the proper clearances for the internal slave. So this runs our internal slave setup. It is running our high 5 clutch with the T56 splines. So it's running that spline setup, so you can do all that. Yeah, stock ECU, Nistune Type 2 board, flex fuel setup on it, basic dual pop configuration. We left the factory inlet piping under here because it was going to be running the factory MAFs. We didn't want to create any more reversion issues. You know, if and the car gets like a Haltech, you can do those pipes to straighten that up because you're going to go to speed density. So we don't want to piss off the factory MAFs any more than we need to. But yeah, engine oil cooler, that's all been done, radiator. Everything that you see has been basically redone, replaced, fixed. Greddy ProFect boost controller to control our boost since we're on a stock ECU. Let's take a look at what this bad boy did. So today, I don't know if you see it, I'm sweating pretty good. Josiah's sweating pretty good behind camera. I think it's probably high 90s, low hundreds in the dyno room in here. But yeah, 91. We kept it conservative. We're not looking to make crazy power. 13 pounds, almost 14. We did 445 to the tire, 401 foot-pounds of torque. Then put it on E85, the highest that we did. We don't want to run any more than this, and really we're going to turn it down for street use because we're only running the Nismo 740cc injectors. We're not running anything more, but we've got our Walbro fuel pump kit in it. We've hardwired, relayed that fuel pump, provided additional grounds for that fuel pump as well. Instead of just throwing it to chassis ground, we've got a ground with an 8-gauge wire running all the way back to the deck lid over there. So the pump gets really good ground. It's getting really good power. Okay, guys, take a look. Here's where we're at, right? So I gave you the numbers. 13 pounds of boost, almost 14, 445, 91 octane, 401 foot-pounds of torque. You can see the boost curves here, beautiful boost curves. Then we turned up the boost to almost 20. We made 19 pounds on E85. and you can see we make 580 and 546. So super healthy numbers for the amount of boost. And then we cranked it up, got up to about 75% duty cycle on our Profec, and we hit 26 pounds of boost. We peaked boost pressure right at 5,000 RPM. You can see it starts to come down just a tiny bit, but our power continues to go up. It holds absolutely flawless and beautiful. And we're not pushing the crap out of this thing with too much timing. 646 and 601 foot-pounds of torque. So really, this goes to show you the difference. How much more power can you make on 85? Well, with this setup, you can make another 200 wheel horsepower more, right? And that's the beautiful thing, is you don't have to run this boost level, you don't have to run this power level all the time, but that's how good E85 is. Clean burning, and you get to have your cake and eat it too. So full flex fuel, he can switch whenever he needs to, run whatever amount of 91 to E85. Just got to be mindful of your boost control settings. So there you have it. I'm super happy with it. I know Leonard will be too. And that T56 is really cool. I really dig it. So rock on. This thing put out at 26 pounds, almost 650 wheel. Our air-fuel ratio just barely started to lean out. I think it was like in the 11.9, 12.0 range. So the thing was still hanging in there. So with the higher fuel pressure, a base fuel pressure that we have on it, in combination with that pump, it being hardwired, makes that big difference. Usually if you don't hardwire it, you just bypass it, you're gonna get your extra money's worth out of that pump. The factory wiring just isn't all that great. So by hardwiring it, you know, usually we'll start to run out of fuel by the high fives to the tire. But because we've got direct power going to that pump, you know, it can do its job. It is the Wall 450-274. It's the high pressure rated one. So figure our base fuel pressure is, with a vacuum hose off, it's probably mid 50s, and we're running 25 pounds of boost. That's easily getting up towards a 75, maybe 80 fuel pressure. If it truly was a one-to-one, you know, it's supposed to be one-to-one, but you know, when you look at the data, very rarely do you ever see that exact one-to-one rise. So we've looked at countless data logs, plotted it on the dyno, and you're always like, well, why isn't it exactly that? Well, it's not perfect, but you can see our fuel pressure holds. It's beautiful. This thing's a wrap. I mean, this could make more power. It is on what I totally forgot to tell you guys. You're going, well, what's it got for turbos? It's got the regular Sport 700s from Jim Wolf, the non-GTX version, so pretty impressive, to say the least. We didn't do the GTX, and you know, Leonard's goals were about 600 horsepower. We weren't going to do anything crazier than that. So the 700s were going to be just fine. You know, if you want to get into the 800s, then that's where the Gen 2 GTX makes a big difference. Might see a negligible improvement in spool, maybe a little bit, but really it's at the high boost levels where the Gen 2 GTX compressor wheel shines. So yeah, we're just wrapping up a few things. Gonna take care of the gauge cluster. We've got the air conditioning working in this thing. Yeah, the wheels were put on last week. They look absolutely beautiful. What a huge difference in transforming. The car was already pretty, but these wheels really set it off even more so. So yeah, we'll get some shots of this thing, a little bit of driving. And then Leonard, after really all these years, 8 years of not driving his Z, he's ready to finally enjoy what a true, proper Z32 should be. So really we left nothing unturned as far as, you know, looking at anything. We want to make sure that Leonard can enjoy this car for another 20 years, trouble-free, just doing regular maintenance to it. As long as he does his job, taking care of it, this thing will last him a super, super long time. So, you know, we always build these cars with the intention of being able to pass this car on to the next of kin. So if he's got kids, they're into this thing, that would be amazing. I know that's what I'm gonna do with my kids. I'd leave them my Zs just to, you know, especially tell the story of the car, because let's get real, guys. It's more than just a vehicle. It's more than just either going fast. It's an experience, right? All of this, even the timeline of putting the car together, for us, it has a story. It has value. It goes to show you how much patience and time it can take to do something correctly. You know, we're super busy here at the shop. We are a little slow in getting things done, but our goal is to try to do that as best as possible. So we appreciate all of you that have had projects with us, big ones especially, being patient. So yeah, super happy. I'm super happy to see it go. I'm also a little sad at the same time, but